everyone, my name's Jennifer Cross and I am here with Dr. Taniesha Burke for this week's segment on parenting the fascinating way. And she has a topic this week to talk about gaining cooperation with your children. So she's going to share with us 4 steps to winning cooperation with your children.
Hi guys, I'm happy to be back to be providing tips on how you can build strong relationships with your children. So as Jennifer mentioned, we're talking about cooperation today. And first I want to begin by highlighting that our children are very agentic, meaning they have their own views of the world, they have their own perception of how things are supposed to be, and they also are very goal-oriented. So sometimes those goals do not interact with our goals, and so we have children who are not being cooperative. So when your children are going through interactions with you or others and you need them to cooperate, there are 4 simple ways that you can get this to be done. Number 1 is to understand your children's feelings. So for example, I will share the steps with an example. So for example, if your child has a big argument with their best friend and they're no longer talking, and you want to interact with your child, a lot of times children will shut down and not want to speak. So you can share that you understand their perspective, and you say, for example, I see that you are angry or upset or disappointed. It's really important that you check in with your child to make sure that's what they're feeling. So you can say, okay, this situation seems to make you upset, and you can say, is this correct? And you go from there. The second step is to express empathy. Empathy is very important, but the important thing is to make sure that you're not condoning the behavior. So don't confuse empathy with condoning a particular bad behavior. Right? Okay. So you basically say, you are going through this, I empathize with you. And one of the best ways is if you have had similar experiences. So you can go back into your childhood, for example, and say, I remember when my best friend didn't speak to me for a long time, and it made me really sad, and I felt isolated because my other friends didn't want to speak to me as well. When you do that, you're showing your child that, hey, I understand your experience. I've been there, and I'm here to also support you. The third step, which is share your feelings. It's important that you get step 1 and 2 clear first. So you understand your child, you express empathy, and if important, you can share your feelings. This is not necessarily a mandatory step, but if it's necessary based on the situation, you can share your feelings about how you feel about the experience that your child is having. And the 4th step is to come up with solutions. So the only way your child will be cooperative with you is if those first 2 steps are done completely. And then you can say, how can you then make sure that this doesn't happen again? Or how can you solve this issue that you're having with your best friend? When you do that, children are more likely to open up and cooperate with you, instead of you telling them, okay, your friend is not talking to you, this is what you need to do. This is how I would solve it. When you dictate to children like that, they're more than likely not going to listen. So the best thing you can do is like, now your friends are not speaking to you anymore, you're feeling sad. What do you think you can do to resolve this problem? And then you go through the different steps with your child. And if you come up with, say, 2 or 3 solutions, then you say with your child, which one do you think is the best one to help you to repair this relationship that you have with your best friend? And if they select one, for example, they can have a meeting together, then you can help your child to strategize like how they can talk to their friend about the issue that they're having to come up with a solution so that they can mend their friendships. So the 4 steps are pretty simple. Express your understanding, make sure you know the emotion that your child is experiencing, and the best way to do that is to check in with them. Next is to share empathy, but empathy doesn't mean that you're condoning the behavior. And the third thing is, if it's necessary, share your feelings and perspective on the issue. And the 4th, which is also very important, is to express solutions or to suggest solutions for your children. When you take those steps, you're integrating your children's perspective and ideas into a particular problem, and they're more likely then to come up with solutions, and they're more likely to listen to you, because children will not listen until they feel that you have listened to them and you have understood them.
Yeah, I want to go, when you say empathy, can you give us some ways that a parent, what are some empathetic statements? Because I don't know if people really understand what empathy is versus sympathy.
Okay, so empathy is I understand where you're coming from. I know how you feel. I know that must feel really sucky.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're saying like I can feel where you are going with this.
Hmm.
And it is really good if you've been there before to say, hey, I know
Hmm.
what that feels like. So for example, I mentioned the best friend. What if something happened with the teacher and the teacher shouts at your child and then your child feel all embarrassed? You can say, I remember when I was in middle school or primary school, kindergarten, whatever it may be, and my teacher shouted at me and I felt so embarrassed. When you share those kind of human experience with your children, you are
Hmm.
showing your children that you are also human and you have been there before and you can help them to get to the solution to that particular problem.
Oh, wow. This is so great. Thank you. I've wonderful time talking with you. And next week, Dr. Burke's going to be talking about the benefits of doing family meetings and sort of how to set that up, correct?
Yes, it's so funny that we always think about business meetings and
Hmm.
having a vision for the business and our department, but we never, so a lot of us tend to neglect that for the family. And a lot of the issues, so the power struggles, resistance, and so on, that we have with our children, if we have weekly family meetings so that all of those can be expressed, and then what I discussed today about cooperation, you come up with a solution as a family, you're
Yeah.
more likely to have a family that is more intact, a family that has less conflicts, and a family that is also closer together. So we're going to go through the necessary steps of what it is necessary to create a family meeting and how you can sustain them.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and we will see you next week. Everyone who's watching the video, please like, comment, share. If this is on Taniesha's YouTube channel, please subscribe so you don't miss any. And if you have any questions, please let us know. We're happy to answer them during Parenting the Fascinating Way. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.